Now.
Yeah.
Hari?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
your screen close. Let's start then.
Yeah.
On a day-to-day basis, business faces multiple challenges which requires their undivided attention. A growing business needs it more, as for it the business owner has to be the accountant, manager, strategist, marketing individual all at the same time and has to excel at it too. We all know that. But the question is, how do you do this all of this work and work towards achieving innovation and growth in your business that it needs from time to time? The answer of the era is that by adapting to the new generation tools that are made to ease your business woes and help you get right back on track. We often notice that there are numerous worries around when it comes to digitization. What if I find it difficult to operate? How do I trust an application like with my hard earned money? I am happy with my traditional method of business. I don't want to waste my time learning new processes. Everything comes with a little patience, assistance, and time. And when it comes to trust, partnerships between banks and fintech can build the future of business by leveraging the technology of fintech and experience of the bank. This brings us to today's discussion. What are the major challenges faced by business if they don't go digital? Joining us today is Mr. Krishna Bandi, our India Sales and Alliances Head at highlevels. He is a hands-on trailblazer who thrives in complex situations and a very strong experience in financial operations and strategic procedures. Welcome, Hari.
Thank you, Nitya. That was a great introduction.
Okay, so welcome to the live session, Hari. We look forward to a very insightful one for the growing SMEs. Moving on to the discussion, how long has it been, Hari, working in the SME sector so closely?
Nitya, to tell you, I'll have to take you back to the period where the entire world was striving towards the Y2K fixing. So it was in the year 99. I've actually started my career into the corporate industry, into the corporate world. So that's where since then I have been a part of the FMCD industries, which is a consumer durables, and then I moved into the FMCG, which is a fast moving consumer goods, and I have my small stint into the beverages industry, and I can even say that before venturing into the financial world, uh, I was a part of the I can say the ophthalmic lenses. So I have the flair of all the industries. So when I say the flair of all the industries, it has the consumer durables, fast-moving goods, the beverages, and into the financial industry. When I say into the financial industry is more into the wealth management, and when I say wealth management, being into the wealth management, I'll have to have the expertise and the knowledge and the information about all the financial instruments which are available in the market, so that the apt financial instrument is actually given to the customer. So to have the suitable financial instrument to give it to the customer, then I should have the information about the various industries, the information about the various asset classes, information about the fitment of the product to the particular customer. So this is all the experience what I have gained, and this is something very which has a lot of interest of me, knowing about the various industries. So that's where it becomes easy for me to talk about the industries, about the businesses, about the management of the businesses, and then how it goes on.
That's a very strong experience knowing businesses very closely. So, our first question is, businesses often wonder, what does digitization or going digital mean? Could you elaborate on that?
Yeah. Uh, Digitization is something where you have an analog product wherein the product in a physical format. You convert that product into a digital format and then put it across to your customers. So if I have to tell you, it's the use of the digital technologies to change a business model and provide the new revenue and also the value producing opportunities. So it is something wherein it's the process of moving the business into the digital. And to elaborate it more, uh, the digitization is something where creating a digital representation of the physical objects or the attributes. If I have to take an example, if you have a paper document, then you save it and then convert into a PDF format. So that is something where you have converted into a digital format. And this is about the digitalization, and it is a process of converting the information, as I said, into the digital format. And when you convert the business into the digitization, you have lot of opportunities and the new business avenues getting opened up for yourself. So that's actually the digitalization or digitization of the business.
A very great explanation to begin with. So, now moving on to the challenges. What are the major challenges that a business would face if it doesn't go digital in these times?
See, as I was telling you, digitization is something where you wipe off the boundaries and you reach out to the greater customer base, and that's where you go beyond the boundaries. You don't have any restrictions of operating the business into a particular market. So when it is digitalization, so something where you reach to the maximum audience or the maximum customers, wherein they don't have to touch and feel the product, or they don't have to come to a particular store to see what is your product and then have a feel of the product. But it is something where you offer these products in a digital format to your customers, and then these customers would come across the digital pictorial representation of the product, and then they take it forward. So that's about the if the businesses do not get into the digitalization, then they'll be left behind the competition, or at times they'll get extinct from the market. So digitization is very much important in the current world. uh, unless you get uh, in line with the changing markets. You have seen there are so many examples which are present in the market, wherein the businesses have gone wiped out from the market when they don't when they did not adapt the digitalization as the concept. So that's something where if you don't get your business into digitalization, then you're restricting yourself. You're creating a boundary for yourself, for your business. So that boundary, you have that limited scope, and within that limited scope, the growth of the business will always be restricted. So that's something where every business will definitely have to go for digitalization. And then if you don't go for digitalization, then there is every possibility that you will be thrown out of the market.
I'm sure many businesses out there could relate to a situation where they face lack of something that their business needs investment in. So, what are the common obstacles objections or roadblocks faced by the business in going digital, and how can that be resolved?
See, the common objections and the roadblocks are something where, uh, we'll have to, every business has to see what is the product which they deal with. And they'll have to understand, uh, is this something where, the product can be taken into the digital format, or what will be the acceptance of the product if they go digital. And most of the objections what we face would be, the business would feel, or the business owner would feel ki, is it so that for my kind of a product and for my kind of the market, does it really require to go digital? And when the business owner definitely feels that, or he has that vision, then, he is the person who has to break the shackles, and then uh, take his team members or the people who are with him, supporting for the business, and then, get along with them, make them understand, to go for the digital. And the majority of the objections would be whether the process what they are following, will that be apt enough, will that be good enough for the process what they are following to go digital, what will be the costing, do we really get the right kind of technology, and do we have that expertise, or the people who are there with me, will they be able to get onto digital? So these are the common objections or the roadblocks faced by most of the businesses, and they keep on thinking whether to go digital, or will they contain themselves with the business which is an ongoing. But at some point of time, they'll also have to think beyond these roadblocks, and then see what is that world is looking towards. So that's something where, the objections has to be broken, and then, the business owner is the key person who has to take the decision, and then take all his team members along with him, and see that the business goes into the digitalization of the business, and then see that the larger markets, or the new markets are ventured into. And the other part of the question, how can that be resolved? So that is something where, every business, when they are doing it, so they'll have to see how do they start, uh, how do they start, and at what point do they start. So that's something which is more important. And it is not so that the entire business has to go digitalization. So they'll have to see in what parts, in what intervals do we have to get each of their process into digitalization. And they'll have to understand which is they should have a proper planning of going digital, on what would be the first instance which they wanted to go digital, and what would follow after that. So that's something which is more important, a proper plan with proper budgets, and then taking the confidence of your team members will definitely enable the business to smoothly sail into the digitalization of their business.
This brings me to a very like a common question, or I would say a question for a beginner. Like, what sort of businesses fall under the bracket of SMEs? If we are to name them, like shopkeepers, photographers, what sort of could you name some that fall under the bracket of SME sector?
See, SMEs are nowadays. I cannot say that there are particular businesses which are small business, or there is a business which is an small and medium scale business. So SMEs nowadays, in my view, every business, if they intend to become large, then, the sky is the only limit for them. And if that is the case, then, if I have to name the SMEs, then, there are large, there are so many SMEs, like the auto ancillaries, like the textile manufacturing, like I can say the small FMCG manufacturers, which are not which are not well known, or which are the brands which are just evolving into the market to become the bigger brands. And there are a lot many SMEs which are available in the market. May it be the agarbatti makers, or may it be the small as I said, the textile industry is one more, and also the uh, I could see a lot of the SMEs uh, in the automotive sector, wherein there are a lot of automotive parts which which are not manufactured by the actual manufacturer of the finished product, but they would be depending on many of the SMEs. So that's something where these are the SMEs which actually form the backbone of uh, the revenue for the government. But somewhere these are the SMEs which actually struggle in their day to day, meeting their business expenses, meeting their business process, meeting their business requirements, or maybe the today's topic of getting digitalization. And there are a lot of support which is required for these SMEs to evolve themselves, and then name themselves, or come into the category of the bigger brands. So that's something where every SME should always have that kind of a support. It's not so that the entire support has to come only from the government, but it's something where every businesses, or the small businesses, or the even for that matter, the banks, wherein they'll have to support these SMEs, so that these SMEs are really very important for making the finished products of the good brands. So that's something where these SMEs play a larger part in the industry revenue for the government, and also for the economy.
Great point. This brings to our next question. What are the major benefits that the SMEs and businesses could get from the digital transformation?
So, as I have told you, digitalization is something where you wipe out your boundaries. So, when I say you wipe out your boundaries, so there is no boundaries. You can operate your business in whatever geography or whatever markets you wanted to. So that's something where you can have your product, or you can have your business in many of the other locations other than what you are currently in. That is one benefit. And when your boundaries are wiped out, and when you operate in a larger markets, then definitely your your revenues would increase, and the decentralization of the production would takes place. When you go digital, you will be ahead of your competition, and you will see a lot of process improvement, and you will see the accuracy in the finished product. You will see that refinement in the product processes, and you will see the entire change of the business once you go digitization, because digitization is such a strong point, or such a strong development what the businesses take. So that's something where the businesses will evolve in the way where the world is looking towards. So the digitization is something where these businesses would definitely see the kind of change, would definitely see the kind of development, and the forward growth what they see after they start getting into the digitization.
um, I'm sure like these are the benefits that business actually look forward to. A small business is really restricted to an area, so that they could easily break. That is a very good point. Um, so one very important question is like, how does a business know whether they are ready for the leap of digitization?
See, every business, if suppose I am a business owner, so it's again, I'll have to see ki, there are three important factors which I'll be able to assess whether I am ready to go for digitalization or digitization. See, this is something where I should see the culture of the business is one, and the process of the business and the technology. These are the three important points which are very much need to be taken into consideration before going into digitization. So this is something where I'll have to see when I say culture. So I'll have to make an assessment or make a survey whether my internal customers, where I say these are the employees, do I have that capacity? Does my people have that capacity? If I go digital, does these employees, does the team members of the business has that capacity to get onto digital, and then get equipped with the digitization once I convert my business into digitization? And if required, then I'll have to make them properly trained, or I'll have to have somebody who can get on with it and who can start operating once I go digitization. And also, if required, I'll have to make a survey of my customers also, and know whether these customers or the when I say customers, it need not be the end consumers. It can be the customers like the distributors or the sub distributors or the state distributors. So I'll have to understand whether these customers are really looking towards the business, or are they ready to get on if the business goes into digitization. So that is the first point what need to be taken into consideration. Second is the process. Do I have that process, or the current process what I am into? Will this process be really making, or will the current process be helpful for me, or will this process be fitting into the digitization when I convert my business into digitization, or do I have to make the changes onto the process? So if there are anything which need to be done on the process, then I'll have to see what are the where are the tweakings which need to be done, so that uh, when I go digitization, when I get convert my business into digitization, then I should be able to have that process ready, and then see that it goes on a plug and play mode once I get the digitization done. And comes the technology. So technology is something where I'll have to see what kind of technology, or the current technology which is available in the market, will that be useful, or will that technology be bought in, and then can be fit into my kind of a business, or do I have to explore something more, or do I have to have a collection of various technologies, or do I have to go with a single technology? So this technology is entirely a vast topic, where you'll have to analyze yourself. Does this the technology which is readily available, will it be suitable to my current business to go really digitization or not? And then finally it comes on to the budget. Does the business really have that budget to go digitization? And if that budget is not something where the business is not ready with, then everything will go in vain, whatever process, whatever culture or the technology you have. So budget plays a key role in understanding whether is this the right time, or is this financially the right period where I can go digital, or do I have to wait, or do I have to borrow the finances to get the digitalization, or where do I mobilize my funds if I have to go digitization, and what could be the cost? The cost assessment is something where once you have that finance, then the cost assessment is one thing which you have to look into.
So, in this whole, once the business has decided that they need to go digitization, how does high low come into play?
Yes, it's a very good question what you have asked, Nitya. Uh, Thing is, High Lobbies as a fintech application, uh, we are actually changing the businesses and helping the businesses in getting digitization. And these businesses, with my experience, wherever we have been going to the customers offering high lobbies as a product, and then keep listening to these businesses, and then we keep meeting these businesses after we give high lobbies as a product to those businesses. And then the kind of response, the kind of positive response what we keep getting from these customers is really encouraging for us, because we have actually changed the entire dynamics of the business in getting them digital. When I say digital, the high lobbies as an application should not be looked at as a accounting software or as an accounting application. This is something where mine high lobbies as an application will help the businesses in digitalizing their accounts receivables, account payables, and invoice generation, and reconciliation of the accounts receivables and payables as per the invoices what they generate. So these are the things where high lobbies plays an important role. And I've seen many of the businesses where the sales team go and talk to the businesses. They feel that uh, they just say हम लोग तो already digital होके ही है. So that's something where we I keep telling my team members, when the business owner says that they are already digital, uh, you need to understand ki to what extent they have gone digital. You need to understand ki what is that which they have gone into digital. So when the business when they ask this question na, तो बिजनेस ओनर वुड से दैट हमारे पास तो मतलब अकाउंटिंग ईआरपी ऑलरेडी है, तो फिर हमने डिजिटल हो गए. So that's something where it's not that when you have an ERP, that doesn't mean that you have completely gone digital. There are a lot of things which even after having a good ERP or a good accounting system, there are a lot of businesses which actually does a lot of manual work in their day-to-day business accounting, or in their day-to-day business inventory, or in their collection, or whatever it is in the business day-to-day operations. So we need to understand exactly ki, where is the pain point of the customer, where is that the customer or the business devoting most of his time. And even after he says that his business is digitalized, uh, then we have seen that most of the customers, we have seen that around 40 to 50% of the business time actually goes in calling the customers for their payments. Once the business generates the invoices, there is a person, there are a couple of people in some of the good businesses what I have seen, that these people call their customers and then ask for the payment. Sir, आपका invoice बना है, तो हमने 15 दिन का आपको टाइम दिए थे, तो this 15 days is already done, so when is it that you are making the payment? Then there are challenges in collections, there are challenges in getting the payments from the customers. And also there are challenges in getting the entire payment against the business. If suppose there is a business which generates 1 lakh as the invoice, and then the entire 1 lakh is not paid by their customer, or by their buyer, so they actually pay it in different parts. So when they pay it in different parts, it becomes very difficult for the business to take out their bank statement and take out their invoice statement, and then see ki, what is it that which is the amount which has come, which is the amount which has come against which invoice. So they'll have to do the reconciliation on what is the amount which has come for which invoice, and every invoice they'll have to see, every invoice they'll have to track, every payment they'll have to track, and then see that what is the amount which has come against the invoice. Is it 100% invoice amount which is paid, or is there something pending? So these are all the manual intervention, or these are all the manual thing which still the businesses do, and most of the businesses are doing it. That is where high-low base comes into play, where we automate the payment collections, we automate the reconciliation of the collections against the invoices. We automate the if there is any businesses who wants to pay to their sellers, then the high-low base as a system, they can use it for paying it to their sellers. And some of the good businesses where they do not want to have a big ERPs, or where they do not want to incur the cost in getting the ERPs, they can use high-low base for generating the invoices as well. So they can directly generate the invoices using highlobis, and then once the invoice is generated, then uh, they can track the collections against those invoices. And then this is something where the highlobis comes into play, where some of the businesses who do not want to incur the huge costing on their ERP application. So high-low-base plays a major part in most of the businesses in traveling the digital journey with the businesses, and also with the connected banking. As high-low-base, we have the connected banking. We are tied up with some of the banks, and then that comes more handy because most of the fintechs, this is something where as a handicap for most of the players which are there in the market. But highlobis has the connected banking with some of the banks, partnered with some of the existing banks, some of the major banks which operate in India. And that is something which again comes handy to these businesses. They don't have to go to the net banking every time. The business owner, in front of the business owner, it comes digitally on at the end of the day, business owner can sit on highlobis application and then see what is his collections and what is his payments, what is done, and what is the working capital which is available with him at the end of the day. So there is a sea change to the business once the businesses adopt highlobis as an application, and it's really helping most of the businesses. And all the businesses which they have started using highlobis. That's something where most of the businesses have expressed their happiness, and also the satisfaction of their the smoothness which highlobis has brought into their business. Yeah.
That's what I said. Like I began the session with the experience of bank and the technology of fintech. That's what brings trust within the customers. So
Yes.
the next question I would like ask you is: being in a one-on-one interaction with customers every day, what is the most asked question about our product? You could just
Yeah.
mention one or two.
Yes. About our product, as I've already told in my previous answer, when my sales team when they go to the customer thinks that there's one more person who has come to sell me an accounting software. But that's not a product, or that's not the USP of highlobis. तो the business would say that हमारे पास already ERP application है भैया, I do not want to have one more application with me. Then high lobbies, we as the salespeople, or when my team goes, when they encounter this kind of resistance or the question from the businesses or the business owners, then we tell the customer, sir, we have not come here to sell one more application to you, or we are not here to alter any of your systems, we are not here to change any of your business practices. So my application would be a bridge between your ERP system and the banking. So this is something which bridges the business requirement in between your ERP system and the banking. So when we say this, then customer will definitely show that interest. And After that, the customer will start asking, ha chalo to fir this is what you are saying. So now, we are little relieved that you have not come to sell one more application, or one more application selling. So I'll have to train my people, I'll have to get the buying of my people, because they're already used to the existing system. So that's something which we keep telling. And then, when we start explaining it to the businesses, and then when we start showing the application as a demo, then the business owners and the business management people will definitely get that kind of buying, and that see that kind of relief in their day-to-day transactions once we show the demo to these businesses. So that's something which uh, my people keep telling me ki, this is what the businesses look at. And every business has their own requirement. It's not so that whatever I take to a customer, then the business, when I say customer, the business should not be so that they'll have to take my plug and play application. So every business has a different requirement. So some of the businesses will have to do the customization also. So where Hilobase is open for the customization, unlike the other players who are there in the market. So Hilobase, that's one of the advantage, was what most of the businesses have actually seen when we go to the businesses and say that we can customize the application as per the requirement of your business needs, your business day-to-day needs. That's something where they get excited. And we've actually delivered some of the good customization for so many businesses. If I have to take the example, there are the electrical and solar manufacturer. They are they are the biggest electrical and solar manufacturers, and these are the people, and to understand their use cases, to give them the product as Hilobase, we need to understand what exactly is their requirement. It is not so that my plug and play application will fit into their requirement. So we have completely done the case study and then understood what is their requirement. And thanks to the product team of Hilobase, who were very keen in taking each of the points, what is the requirement for that business. And we have successfully delivered that, and the customer is happy. This is one of the example. And one more example where there is a customer who actually is looking for the multiple GSTIN. When I say multiple GSTIN, the customer has a corporate office in Hyderabad, and then they have different offices in different cities, and those different cities would operate with a different GSTN number. So they want these branches also to be integrated with the corporate office, and then they want the business to be operated with multiple GSTI. Even that also is something where I'll have to appreciate my product team in getting it delivered within the time frame what the customer was expected. And that's something where we have won many of the hearts of the business owners, where which was actually beyond their expectation or beyond their imagination. That's something, as a product, Hilobase has delivered to them. And then it's helping them in cutting down the time spent manually on each of the day-to-day business process. So that's how Hilobase has actually added the value to the business of their businesses.
Hari, you recently mentioned multiple GSTINs. It was not available at our platform way back. It is a recently introduced feature. What are the other features that we have introduced recently? We had a product update.
Yeah. If I have to tell you, every now and then, Hilobase as a product is evolving itself, and then we actually take the use cases of most of the customers whom we visit. It's something where and this is again possible when there is the information flow which is happening from the sales team who are on the ground, who go and meet the customers, and this information, when they go and meet different businesses, this information has to be passed on to the product team, has to be passed on to the management, and then understand different use cases of the businesses, and then understand, if we implement this use case or a particular use case, how will it be useful for the majority of the businesses whom we would be approaching. It is not so that we take a unique case wherein, the that particular use case will only be suitable for an existing business or for one entity. So we'll have to look at the larger prospect wherein, we see that if we take up a development of the application, then, we'll have to see how do we use this, or how do we put this to the larger audience or the larger customers. So in that case, then, multiple GSTIN is one which we have recently come in. There is an addition of debit and credit note, where, most of the businesses were asking for it, and that again is a challenge. And the product team was keen in taking this up, and then they have developed this. And we have actually this was a requirement which has come to us from one of the biggest petrol dealer, if I can say. So that was the use case of that business. And then, we also have realized, when we get into the strategy meetings, we also have to realize that this use case can be used or can be utilized for the majority of the audience or majority of the customers whom we go onto the market. So that's where, we have taken this up, and then we have developed this debit note and the credit note on iLobis. And GSTIN is the other one. And recently we have come out with the e-invoice. Most of our businesses, now that the government want to bring most of the businesses into the e-invoicing platform, where currently the e-invoicing is available upwards of 20 crores and above turnover. So very soon you will see that the government wants to bring all the businesses into the e-invoicing platform. So very soon you will hear the announcement from the government saying that 5 crores and above turnover businesses also need to generate the e-invoice. So this is something where, if any business wants to generate the e-invoice, then, they'll have to use the APIs from the government, and then it's not possible for all the businesses to get on the APIs from the government. So we actually, the organizations like highlevels actually facilitate this feature to the businesses. And e-invoice is one feature what we have gone live with, wherein, the customers, when they generate the invoice, or when they sync their ERP application and then get the invoices onto highlevels, they can convert these the raw invoices or the normal invoice into the e-invoice, and then push it across to the customers by generating the IRN for the e-invoices. So this is one feature where, which was actually welcomed by most of our existing customers. And for them, this is an added advantage what they got from highlevels. They don't have to go to any other application to generate the to convert the invoice, the normal invoice, into the e-invoice. So that is readily available with highlevels, and they can, at a click of it, they can convert the invoice into the normal invoice into the e-invoice. So that's something which we have developed and gone live. And the other one is the e-way bill. E-way bill is something where, any goods which are getting transported from the manufacturing unit to their distributor or to their customer, anything above 50,000 rupees of the worth of the goods which are getting transported, then, e-way bill is very much necessary to be carried. So that's something where, the businesses has to generate the e-way bill. So highlevels has come out with this feature for the businesses and for our customers. And this is again, readily available on our platform. And They don't have to go outside of the business system what they have. Using Hylobis, they can generate the e-way bill, and then they can have that e-way bill sent along with the goods with the truck. So these are the additional use cases what we come across, and then we keep adding these additional features. And the good part of it is most of our existing customers, whenever we add these features on Hylobis, there isn't anything what we go to the customers and then ask for anything extra on their subscription fees. So that's something where most of the businesses have actually encouraged us, and then they have appreciated us, because there isn't anything which we have put on as a fees for these new features what we have added on Hylobis. So we keep evolving ourselves. Hylobis will definitely keep evolving from the existing position, because day to day, when there is a business ecosystem which is growing, and there are a lot of requirements which are to be bought in. It's not so that the business what the application what I have as a plug and play uh, today will be of use tomorrow. So every day when the business is evolving, then definitely what all applications which are associated with these businesses also have to evolve. And Hylobis is taking the leadership position in getting evolved into the business ecosystem, and then see that these businesses or the existing customers who are already onboarded with Hylobis enjoy these features. And these business owners will always have a hassle free, or will always have a ready application, or will always have a ready solution with Hylobis being with them. So that's something where every now and then we keep evolving ourselves, we keep adding new features, we keep adding new use cases which we keep learning from the market. And and thanks to our product team again, kudos to the product team, where they have that the readiness, and they work themselves to see that the delivery of the upgradation is done within the time frame. Yeah.
Kudos to the product team, definitely, because they deliver it every time a new product comes in or a new feature has to be introduced. It is delivered on time, and the management very great.
Yes.
So there is a
If I have
comment
to
on
tell,
Algorithm.
if I have to tell about the management, uh, the main force behind us is Mr. Vishal Gupta, who is our CEO. Uh, he's a gem of a person who actually drives us in whatever hurdles we have, in whatever support we require. So that's something where I'll have to definitely. I feel myself honored to be a part of his team, and then his guidance is definitely a value addition for all of us, which actually helping us in taking that major steps, and moving forward at the pace at which we wanted to be.
You shared a use case earlier on in one of the questions. We have a comment on YouTube that says typical challenges are top two problems faced by businesses are collections and easier credit availability. So, would you like to share a use case related to this one?
Yes, yes. So if I have to tell you, every business face that challenge in collections. So as I've been telling, so that's where most of the businesses spend their 40 to 50% of their good time in collections. So when you generate an invoice, there is always a time frame where the invoice amount has to be collected, or the invoice amount has to be paid by the buyer who has purchased the goods from you. So that's something where the businesses has to be behind their buyers to get this amount. See, I'll just tell you, if you have 100 rupees, and this is an example what I'm taking, 100 rupees, and then you develop a product, and then out of this 100 rupees, you have spent 50 rupees for developing the product, and another 50 rupees you have that working capital, or you have kept aside for your day to day operations. So that 50 rupees, what you have developed, and then you have made that finished product by spending that 50 rupees, and then you have sold this 50 rupees into the market. Until you have that 50 rupees getting recovered or getting back to your business, then you'll always have that bottleneck of meeting your day-to-day expenses, meeting your working capital requirements. So the faster you get the collections, the faster you recover the money, or the faster you get the money once the buyer takes the product or purchases the product, and then the it'll be easy for the business to to manage their working capital. So that's something where every business will definitely strive to get this collections faster. And when they get this collection faster, so that they'll have that 50 rupees getting back to them, and they can plan their production accordingly, they can plan their other working capital requirements accordingly. So if I have to see in today's scenario, out of the 50 rupees what they have spent, and then which is already there in the market, to generate the new products, where the 50 rupees is already there in the market, they are left with only 50 rupees, where they'll have to meet their production cost, meet their day-to-day expenses. There are a lot many things where the businesses would spend the remaining 50 rupees. So that's something which is already planned. So if they have to plan an incremental production, or if they have to plan something more, or if they have to plan the expansion of their business, or if they have to plan their spreading of the market, or if they wanted to get into the new markets, then they would require the additional capital. If they wanted to have the additional capital, then either they'll have to borrow it from somebody, or they'll have to get back that 50%, or they'll have to see that they'll have to find out where do they mobilize this another 50 rupees or the extra amount. The faster they get the collections, then it will become easy for the businesses to plan their working capital, and then it will become easy for them to see that there will not be any crisis, or I can say the crunch in the business day to day operations or the manufacturing. So that's where the collections are really something where the business is has to actually concentrate to meet that working capital requirement. And if they fail in that, then I've seen many of the businesses where they have that soft corner with their customers. It's not that I'm not saying that the soft corner should not be there, but when it comes to business, then it's all business. Then there might be some of the buyers where they tend to go beyond the limit which is given for paying against their invoice. But one odd time or one odd case is okay, but it cannot happen every time, where it will become difficult for the business to meet their working capital requirements. So I would
That
say
is
that,
a
I would say that Hylobis plays a major role in this. So that's where we have eliminated this as a worry factor for most of the businesses, because once the businesses have actually started using Hylobis as a platform, as an application, they have seen that the collections have become much more faster than what it was, and they have seen that spurt in the collections. They have seen, because when they generate the invoice and then push the invoice to the customers, they there is a payment link which goes along with the invoice. Most of the businesses, they would find a reason or an excuse to say that I'll have to send my person to the bank, or I'll have to add your beneficiary onto my bank account, or there are so many excuses. So here, when they send the invoice through Hylobis, then there isn't any excuse which the buyer would give it to to the business, because the payment link is sent along with the invoice. they'll have to just click on the payment link, and they can pay it in any of the modes like UPI, net banking, credit card, and debit card. So the buyers can pay it in any of the modes, and there isn't any excuse what the buyers would give it to the business. And then most of the business have practically seen that Hylobis, after they have started using Hylobis as an application, they have seen that spurt in the collection of their accounts receivables. So that's something which is really exciting. And then I always feel, and my sales team always feel elated when we go and meet the existing customers, and then start talking positive about the value addition what Hylobis is doing for their business.
It is always good to hear how your work turned out. I hope the sales team is enjoying that.
Yes, yes.
So we are almost about to conclude the live session. It was a very insightful one. I hope every business or every person in the audience is taking away something from the session back with them that is going to stay with them. And we hope this changes the perception and gives businesses an idea on how digital and technological advancement in the fintech industry can support SME businesses in overcoming their financial, operational, working capital efficiency, and the challenges that they face and stay ahead in the competition. Thank you very much, Hari, for joining this session. And it has been great to know a solution that solves challenges of the business that it faces every day. So,
Thank you,
a very
Nitya.
insightful session. Thank you
Yeah,
very much,
thank
Hari.
you,
Thank
Nitya.
you.
It was my pleasure to be a part of this live session, and really happy to address all the questions. And most of the questions what you have asked are the real challenges what the businesses are facing in the current world. And uh, we at Hylobis, has always ensured that the solutions are there in front of the businesses for solving their use cases, and taking the businesses to the next level. So we always strive to see that we always add value to the businesses once they start using the Hylobis.
This session has been great, and you have answered such nicely. Like every question has been attended so well, knowing the challenges that the business faces in the ground level, everything. I hope we get on a live session again with another topic, clearing all the doubts again with very insightful details. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Nitya.